This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm here with Restoration One. Since 2016, these restoration experts provide a stress-free restoration and reconstruction process, returning your property back to its original shape. I'm joined with Lance Ray, who is the owner. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Appreciate you coming in.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself. I mean, you began your formal education many years ago, Arapahoe Community College. Since then, you have continued really specialty education along with lead techs right here in this room. You began the organization 6 years ago, but you really have 30 years of experience when we're talking about restoration, construction. Share with me a little bit how you got involved in this type of industry.
Yeah, I mean, it started out when you mentioned that at Arapahoe Community College that basically I went to school for architecture. You know, they have a really good program there. It was kind of cool that, you know, kind of a smaller community to do that. I grew up in Gunnison and went to a smaller school there. Started building and working in the construction industry in Denver while I was going to school, and really stuck with it. I actually started my company when I was 19 as a construction company, and then I've just been self-employed ever since and been a home builder the last 28 years. And we still build homes today, but the restoration industry took a great turn for us because 2008 and 2009, when the market took the dips and stuff, and we really were just building homes, we wanted to get into an industry that was really going to weather that storm better. You know, to where the market dips and all that, and we could really help people in this industry, and really it just kind of stays nice and level with what, you know, because it's insurance based, and we get a lot of gratitude out of being able to help people while we're doing it as well. So
interesting. You've continued to grow since then. I mean, quite honestly, water, fire, it can both be our friend or foe. I mean, are these still the top two elements that cause most damage to our homes and businesses?
Absolutely. It's amazing how, you know, how much water damage you get on a daily basis between a water heater bursting or a pipe. With us in Colorado, it's incredibly huge here in the winter. It's crazy substantial. A couple years ago when that crazy break that even happened in Texas, we were probably helping about 100 customers the very next day right here in Colorado Springs. And so we have a large team that could really be out there. But yeah, then the fire, I mean, that's kind of a little softer or harder thing to do. Somebody with their largest investment that they'll ever have, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to recover ever. So our job is to make sure they got the right people and they got a trustworthy company that's going to make them whole again.
I mean, when someone is faced with either of these problems, it may seem like there are more questions than answers. I imagine a sense of panic really sets in. Do you enjoy providing peace of mind, providing answers and solutions for your customers who are going through that process?
Absolutely. We really feel like we have to be the people that become the Superman in a sense with it being at the job. When we show up, we need to calm the situation down, give them rest assurance that we're going to take care of them, that we're going to hold their hand through the insurance process to make sure to be that advocate for them so they recover whatever damage they had from start to finish, and help them with the emotional side too. Our people are pretty passionate about what they do.
I mean, let's face it, disaster can occur at any time. It exists 24/7. Does your team understand the urgency and attempt to provide a solution in a timely manner while having kind of some compassion for the distraught customer?
Absolutely. Our process is 24/7. I dispatch people at 11 o'clock last night. I take a ton of those calls myself because I know how important it is to make sure that people are taken care of. And I mean, we really have to have the compassion and the urgency, because knowing the longer it sits there and does it, the more damage it's going to do, because then it pops into mold and all that kind of stuff too. So we have to be on top of our game.
Let's touch on a few of the services. Let's start out with water damage. Why is it important for the customer to reach out really just as soon as possible? I mean, can damage increase with time when it comes to water?
Absolutely. From the moment it happens, it starts wicking up walls. It starts traveling in places you wouldn't even think it would go. It goes down the whole cavity of a home. Like we have stuff that happens on the second or third level of somewhere. We've actually done it 24 units in a hotel. I mean, it starts at the very top one. It works its way down, or if it's in a basement, it just starts acting as a swimming pool and starts pooling up. You know, so it's horrible stuff, and we really need to make sure we prevent damage to be further than what it already is. The sooner that we're there and helping them take care of the stuff, the quicker they're going to recover, the less damage they're going to experience.
Interesting. I mean, pipes and water heaters burst, leaks that continue, flooded basements. I mean, these and more are all part that your team is trained really to assess and remedy a solution. Is that nice to know that they're dealing with somebody who has done this pretty much day in, day out?
I mean, I really feel like from an ownership in my background that really adds a lot of value to where we can actually know what they're going to be running into when they're putting it back together, and actually know, just to be able to make sure that they're 100% recovered that way. But absolutely, our experience and my background really does aid that.
Interesting. I mean, we're literally sitting in a classroom right now. You're certified and highly trained experts. They know a thing or two about water, I'd say. Is ongoing education and certification a big part of your success in really dominating as a leader in this field?
We've basically turned our business to where it's all around education. So we educate our community. We bring in insurance companies so we can cohesively work with them, and we train them cohesively in here. We bring in customers that want to come in and learn some more about it. We've been realtors bringing stuff more about it. And then our team on a daily basis trains in this classroom right here. Live flood room we have right here, and we actually smoke it out once a month as well. So they really learn techniques and tricks of the trade to make sure they're fine-tuned.
I mean, as you said before, time is of the essence when you're talking about water. I mean, simple water leaks to even excessive moisture can lead to a whole other set of serious problems. Mold. I mean, this is literally a problem that grows. Why is it important, as my dad would say, to nip it in the bud right away?
I mean, absolutely. The longer we wait, the worse the mold problem is going to get. Mold is one of those things, kind of a bad word in homes. Yeah. It's a bad word in selling homes, a bad word in having homes that's unhealthy. It's actually, really toxic. Sure. So we need to make sure that we're handling it on a timely manner to prevent that. But we've been in many that have set, because the people don't know the layers where it could build underneath layers of stuff, and they could be living right inside it, but they can't see it because it's behind the walls. So being able to handle it and dry it out properly at the beginning is going to prevent all that.
I mean, a little mold may be okay, but a significant amount that can cause issues. I mean, respiratory problems, rashes, watery eyes, even fever. I mean, can your team go in, assess, maybe inspect, and find out if that mold is a problem that actually will need a professional?
Absolutely. We do a timely inspection. We have several people that do free inspections here that we do free inspections for everybody, but several people that do those inspections to make sure what the need is and what the immediate need is and what how active the mold is. And a lot of times we'll just tape over that and plastic over that if they're still living in there, to make sure it's contained a little bit before the process starts. I mean, putting these air scrubbers here, filter out the air we have sitting behind us and stuff like that. So mold actually is in the air. It actually, it goes airborne. So when it's messed with, so we need to make sure we're educating people and letting them know the importance of taking care of it right away.
I mean, when I say a little mold is okay, I mean, that comes with a warning. Not all mold is alike. Black mold can be just as scary as it sounds. Why is this not a do-it-yourself project, and really you need to bring in a professional?
I think it's a misomen. You talk about, bleaches and things like that people could take care of that themselves. It actually doesn't do anything with it. We actually need to kill it with chemicals that will actually take care of it entirely, 100%. And then we do a clearance test to make sure that happens. So there's the ease and the peace of mind and the paperwork behind it.
I mean, from flooded basements to emergency water extraction, your team really are the go-to pros here in this area. Water alone sounds bad enough, but what about when the sewer breaks? That is a dirty job that somebody's got to do. Are you guys that somebody?
We are that somebody, and those calls are, the people are usually really panicked on that kind of stuff, and basements, bathrooms, all kinds of stuff that we end up seeing that kind of stuff. Rest assured that we're going to take care of them, whatever it is, our guys are ready to go. Sometimes it fills up crawl spaces, they don't even know about it. Other times it's very visible, so we want to make sure we take care of that. It can be very toxic as well if it's sitting.
As we mentioned before, I mean, water and fire, it can be our friend or foe. I imagine fire ranks as one of the worst disasters a person can endure out there. Is this an area where you can provide a bit of hope in what probably feels kind of like a hopeless situation?
It's something we feel very passionate about on a fire. We need to be able to help them meander the whole thing, because it's personal property that's affected too, like heirlooms and photographs and pictures and animals and relatives. I mean, we've been to things where pets have been injured or died, and we've had people where we really had to it's a thing where we really need to be a neighbor and a friend during this process too. But in that, we provide the stuff where they could really, get the documentation they need to be pulled and replaced or repaired inside everything. And the smoke smell and the odor is very toxic, and it could get pretty potent even with a very simple snow fire. So that's something we really do specialize in.
I mean, obviously, just because the fire is out doesn't mean that you're left without damage. I mean, we're talking about after that fire department leaves, you're left with a mix of water damage as well as fire damage. I mean, is this an overwhelming combination that really requires an experience of a team that can handle both those sides?
No, absolutely, because the first thing that happens too, the power shut off, the gas is shut off. If it happens in the winter, we got to think about further damage in the house with draining water and all those kind of things to make sure the house doesn't take further damage from freezing up and stuff like that. But yeah, it absolutely is from top to bottom. It's a thing that happens all the way from boarding it up and tarping so they don't take further damage from the roof or wherever it happened, and then make sure we get equipment set and power set so we can actually help them recover.
Kudos to the firemen that will go into those houses, but
Absolutely.
Kudos to you guys
We appreciate
for going
that.
after, because of the fact, I mean, HVACs, they need cleaned, appliances repaired, toxic fumes and odors need to be removed. Families are many times displaced. Is this really a all hands on deck situation with the goal of restoring back to a safe environment?
Yeah, absolutely. We really want to make sure these people are whole again. So our team actually today is so versed where we take, if somebody has asbestos in their home, we have an asbestos unit that comes out and takes care of that if something goes live that way. We have the emergency response team for the water and the fire. We have the content team that comes in and takes care of personal property. And then we have probably one of the most advanced rebuild teams in this city for recovery and making them whole again on the construction side.
That is crazy. All hands on deck.
Absolutely.
Quite a few professionals going
All hands on deck.
in and out of there, taking care of their area of specialty. In a situation like this, like I said, I'm thankful for professionals like you that can come in and take care of this, but I'm also thankful for insurance. Is your team on hand to help a customer navigate through that process, which can be stressful within itself?
Yeah, sometimes some people have never experienced this before. We have people in their 90s and, young people, the first-time home buyers. They've never experienced anything like this. We got to help them. We help them file the claim. We help them work with the insurance company. We help them with all the documentation to make sure everything's covered. We warn them if it's not going to be covered. Like there's outside water that came from a flood, from flash flooding that insurance doesn't cover. So we'll do them discounted estimates when that kind of thing. So they don't put in wasteful claims that aren't going to be helpful for them. So we really want to be hand in hand with them. So this experience is as painless as possible, and it's very painful.
You began in 2016 with this particular company. Very fast, you've gone through different locations. You've continually grown. You have a great facility now where you're able to not only serve the public better, but also educate your people right here. As you read the great reviews, you experience these thankful customers who you've been able to really help, really in their time of need. Does this continue to be rewarding for you?
When I used to build homes, I used to love the part when I was involved in architecture where you took a napkin and a couple pictures out of a magazine and creating something beautiful with the people. With this, I'm actually could take them to something they already had and help the transformation of a disastrous, worst situation they've ever been in to something they completely recovered. So the rewarding factor is very similar.
That is excellent. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, you can learn more about the services they provide. I mean, obviously, check out the reviews. They serve all the areas right around here in Colorado Springs. They're your team of experts ready to serve you when disaster strikes. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you never know when disaster is going to hit. And obviously, you're hoping or thinking it's someone else, but it could be you very much that next morning. Once again, that is Restoration One. Experts providing a stress-free restoration and reconstruction process, returning your property back to its original shape. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, well, now you know.